Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Film Club podcast. And if we sound different, that's because we are recording out of Undercity Comics in Whittier today, which means we have a guest on our episode.
Woohoo! We love guest episodes.
Yes, and today we're talking about The Lobster. And our guest is Alex Leto. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Dean. How are you?
I'm horrible. It's cold outside.
You only put 2 creamers in your coffee.
I only have 2 creamers in my coffee today. It's horrible. But, Alex, I have a question for you. If you were going to be turned into an animal, if you couldn't find a relationship, what animal would you turn into? We're asking the hard questions today.
I'm just going to say I'm not going to keep that voice up. I can't do that the whole time. So I'm just going to talk regularly now.
Okay, cool. All right.
Dean can't either.
I can only do Radio Man for
It's like
5 minutes.
Little segments I can only do it. I can't talk. I could just say things. I can't talk. But I've actually been thinking about what animal I'd be turned into. And I could say I don't know, but that giant pig that walks around the loners, I'm pretty sure that's just me right now.
Yeah, are you sure? Like, you look like you might have been in a Nicolas Cage movie recently.
I mean, I could have been. I don't know. I think I already am the animal that... I'm single. It's been a long time. My 45 days are up.
Oh shit!
No.
I think I'm just stuck in whatever animal this is. I just look normal to myself. I don't know about you guys.
I give you permission to hit Dean with a dart, so we give you an extra day.
Okay, thank you.
We're not ready to let you go yet.
I don't know what that day is gonna do, but thank you.
Oh well, all right then. So, Miss Boo, what animal would you turn into?
I would be a cat. You know, something that can hide, something that's cute, someone will take care of me, but I don't want to live in that scary forest that they live in.
Yeah.
But I'll hide in a tree. What about you?
Silverback gorilla.
Oh, God.
I'm going to dominate the forest. Also, gorillas look cool. You know, they kind of meander around, do gorilla stuff.
But what if no one else picks that?
How is no one going to pick a gorilla?
Then you're just gonna be beating up pigs, that miniature horse that walks around,
The flamingo.
the flamingo,
the peacocks, the rats, the rabbits.
You know, I think I might want to be a penguin.
A penguin?
I think
That's strong.
Either a penguin or a red panda, because I love red pandas.
Red
And I
pandas
feel like
are cute.
if I'm a red panda, I'm going to be held in captivity. I'm going to be taken care of.
There
And
you go.
they will force you to mate.
Oh, they will. So I have no complaining there.
Bingo. So everyone, we're talking about The Lobster today, and I don't know how popular is this movie.
I think it's pretty popular amongst the people we would go to class with and stuff like that.
The film nerd.
Yeah,
kind of people.
back when A24 wasn't
Just horror movies.
it just wasn't Marvel for indie kids yet.
Oh man, the rise and fall of A24. That is a story to tell.
They're still rising, and yet they fall every day. I can't complain. They still got some good stuff though. A24 hire me.
They're on the phone right now. It's coming in.
Yeah, just hire me, but I'm available.
So, before we get any farther, I should probably tell people what The Lobster is about.
Do you have the back of the box?
I have the back of the box. I wrote it down right here.
Titular lobster.
The titular lobster. Set in a dystopian future, single people are sent to a hotel where they must find a partner in 45 days or get turned into a wild animal of their choice. David's wife has just left him after 11 years of marriage, and he is sent to the hotel. His chosen animal, should he not find a partner, is the titular lobster. And comedy ensues, and also some really fucked up shit.
I'm kind of upset that Rock Lobster's never played once in this movie.
The first time I watched that movie, I waited the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like,
I thought
what
it was
is
going
going
to be
on
the credits.
here? I mean, same thing when I watched Parasite. Never played Parasite by Kiss. I was like, this is what they gave the Oscar to. But then it grew on me.
Eventually, like Kiss did.
No, Kiss was just forced upon me right away.
It was opening salvo. Like, you had to be a member of the Kiss army.
I was born with Kiss makeup on.
I was
Awesome.
wondering about those baby pictures.
Yeah, that's just me.
Oh, I see. You got the weird birthmark thing going on. It's like got the cat eye thing going in.
Mm-hmm.
So, The Lobster. We were doing a series for the month of February of
Romantic comedies.
And we asked you to be on because you have a very wide range of like movie interests, stuff that's like far beyond even me.
Yes, I do.
Yes. So I was wondering, what drew you to picking The Lobster? Because this was your pick for the month.
Well, it's definitely about relationships and romance and, finding partners and stuff like that. And IMDb, I don't think IMDb puts it as a comedy, but I think it's hilarious. And I've never heard anyone say it's not a comedy.
Everything I've seen has stated it is like a black comedy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it is really funny because, I'm looking up The Lobster, trying to get the synopsis or whatever, and every review is, oh, this movie is absolutely hilarious. And then it talks about some of the most depressing shit for the next 5 paragraphs of that review.
Yeah, for sure. So I picked it because I think I don't feel like anyone's ever talked about it as like a romantic comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, Punch Drunk Love or Eternal Sunshine, but I was like, no one ever talks about The Lobster as a romantic comedy, so that's the one I'm going to pick, and I think it's just one hell of a movie.
I liked it.
It's a roller coaster, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So, when was the first time you saw it?
I don't think I saw it until 3 years after it came out. My dad kept telling me to watch it. I wanted to see it. It came out the weekend I was in New Hampshire a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess almost 10 years ago now. 8 years ago.
Jeez.
Wow.
So,
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. This movie comes out in 2015.
2015, yeah.
That was 2 presidents ago.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I wanted to see it then, and I never got the chance. But then my dad ended up renting it when it came out, and he kept telling me about it. And then one day in 2018, I was just on Amazon Prime, and it was there. I was like, oh, I'll watch it. So I watched it, and I was like, that was amazing. And then Killing of a Sacred Deer, Yorgos Lanthimos' next movie was on there, too. I was like, I'll watch that, too. And I thoroughly enjoyed both. The Lobster the most, though.
Yeah, the director, okay, can you pronounce his name for me one more time?
Full disclosure, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but I'll give it another shot. Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yorgos Lanthimos. He did like Dogtooth, Killing a Sacred Deer. He's only done like 3 or 4 movies, right?
He's got like, I think maybe 5 or so, because Alps, Dogtooth, I think there's one somewhere in there as well. Then The Lobster, then Killing of a Sacred Deer, and then The Favorite. So 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah, because I knew Dogtooth from him, and Dogtooth's another one of those movies that's very jarring as shit to actually watch.
I don't know if that one's supposed to be a comedy or not, because I don't think I laughed, but I know I liked it.
I read somewhere that he does like predominantly horror movies, right?
I mean, I don't know if it's weird. You can't consider them comedies. You really can't consider them horror movies, but they're terrifying.
Yeah.
And they're funny.
They're absurdist.
Very, yeah.
Almost. Like The Lobster here is, I would describe it as like an absurdist kind of premise, because it's like, oh, you can't find a relationship, we are going to turn you into a chicken or something like that. And that's like a very absurdist kind of premise, but there is no winking at the camera in this. Everyone's playing it dead straight throughout, and it's kind of fascinating how the actors are playing it.
Mm-hmm.
I know you wanted to talk about the acting in the movie, and I'm kind of curious, what about the acting kind of like stood out to you?
It just seems like they're just reading the goddamn pages. It doesn't seem like they're acting anything. They're just reading the fucking lines, and it just, I don't know, it just works.
Boo, what did you think of the acting in this movie?
I mean, I thought they were creepy. Most of the characters, I'm trying to think what movie it reminds me of, but it's just, I get that they're kind of all brainwashed into this world of you either find love or you're going to be an animal and let's see what kills you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just okay with this. But yeah, they just all come across as very creepy. Even our lead, Colin Farrell, yeah. He's just very kind of, okay, I'll go along with the motions. Like, bro, these are horrific things that are happening to you. And you don't react.
I was kind of reminded of like Robert Bresson movies like Man Escaped or Alcazar Balthazar, where it's like that, where everyone is like robotic, blank face, just, I am saying the lines because those are written in the script and the director tells me to say the lines like this. And there's no emotion to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, even in this movie that's about, romance and love and like partnership, Colin Farrell and Rachel Weisz are like, their characters love each other, but there's like one scene of them being like kind of passionate throughout the entire movie.
You mean that awkward scene where they're making out on the couch?
Oh, they are rounding second base.
I mean, it's really the only like glimpse of emotion you get throughout that whole movie. Like there's like very few moments where people actually show emotion in that movie, and it's just so crazy.
I mean, there's definitely no emotion when the managers are singing on stage.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, what is happening?
They don't love each other, but they love each other for the sake of, whatever dystopian future they live in.
And Homeboy looks like Hitchcock.
Oh, for sure.
Is he supposed to be Hitchcock? This is weird.
He just didn't do the hand on his stomach.
I was waiting.
When he's in bed and they're holding the gun to him, I'm waiting for him to put his hands to his stomach and be like, so you've read my books, I see.
So then it goes to that transition to the old Hitchcockian VHS
starts
tape
playing
side. On the trailers for every Universal VHS tape you'll ever have in your life. You could bet your ass that's on there.
Fuck, I think you might be right. I think you might be right.
I am right. It's even on the Psycho VHS. They
Yes.
it's all of his other movies. You have Psycho, now buy these ones.
This movie is just, I don't really know how to describe this movie for people who are listening, because it's so, I don't think I've seen a movie like this, especially like a romantic comedy, because I agree with you. This movie is definitely a comedy. There's funny parts in it, and it's definitely about like romance. That's the entire subject matter, but I don't know how I would pitch this to somebody. Being like, hey, you want to see a movie where it's Colin Farrell and Rachel Weisz just falling madly in love with each other?
Yes.
Also, a dog gets kicked to death in there, but then a Benny Hill sequence comes like right after. Like, how?
I give you kudos because I don't think a movie on the podcast has ever made me cry. This one made me cry watching, or when you get the reveal and you see the blood on her leg, and then he walks into the bathroom, and I was just like, yeah, I lost it. I was like, oh my god.
I mean, even just that opening scene makes me sad. So, especially now after other Colin Farrell movies.
I just watched Banshees of Inisherin like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I'm doing the whole going through the Oscar noms. Sorry, I'm dying. Going through the Oscar noms, and I think that'd be my pick for the winner.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite of the year. Favorite on the list.
Yeah, my follow up was like All Quiet on the Western Front, but then I sat with that movie for like a couple of days, and then I was like, nah, I don't think that movie is as good.
It's just basic. It's basic.
I honestly, I don't even think like it being basic. It's just I think the one from the 30s did it better.
Yeah, wait until you see what the Germans do in the sequel.
Oh god, that one was done by James Whale.
Yeah.
Hey.
What is it? They All Come Back is the sequel or whatever. But yeah. So Colin Farrell. This was a weird time for him, right? Because this was after they were trying to make him like an action hero with like the Total Recall movie. This was after they were trying to make him. Like, Hollywood was trying to figure out what to do with Colin Farrell.
He was the action movie guy. I'm pretty sure he had, like, an actual, not Lobster rom-com in there somewhere.
I think so. He was in, like, 7 Psychopaths with, like...
Right. Martin McDonagh. Which, I mean, of course, like, that's the Colin Farrell that I love. That's where he's at for me. Because In Bruges, 7 Psychopaths, The Lobster.
I loved In Bruges.
It's a perfect movie. I have nothing else to say besides it's a perfect movie. It's not my favorite movie, but it's a perfect movie.
And I want to talk about Colin Farrell in this movie, The Lobster, because we were talking about the acting in the movie, and we've seen Colin Farrell show like he's got like real range. Like he was in Banshees of Inisherin, and he was also in The Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about that about the Batman in like here on this podcast in this room.
Yeah.
And our standout was, man, Colin Farrell like transforms in this movie, and it's so weird to see him play this where he's like robot blank throughout it. But I was feeling like super sympathetic to him. He's not giving you any emotions, but it's like he seems so like pathetic in like how his body language is like portraying.
He's miserable.
Yeah, he's miserable, exactly. He seems so fucking depressed in this movie.
But that just goes to Colin Farrell and the range that he has. Because, I mean, like you were saying, he's been in action movies, he's been in dramas, he's been in Fantastic Beasts. I was trying to remember, like,
oh yeah, that's right.
He's done Harry Potter movies. So it's just, this man has range, and in this movie, he's just miserable. And you just feel for the guy, but it's also, I don't blame him. I might be trying to escape there too, with this crazy-ass wife that he picks up.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to know, what did he turn her into?
I want to know the same thing. The worst thing you could ever turn someone into. What does that mean?
What would be the worst thing you could turn somebody into? The worst animal? Would it be like a bug?
I was thinking like a cockroach.
Cockroach or like a slug.
A slug? Oh God. No, he turns her into that pig, and then that's why they're not gonna kill the pig. They got to keep it or whatever. So she's like a sow now. Just gotta
maybe.
Or he turns her into like a puppy, something cute where people are like, oh, let me touch you, let me pet you, and she's just like, she's like, oh no, don't touch me.
Oh, it's like one of those poetic things.
Mm-hmm.
Turns her into whatever the fuck was in Aliens 3 that alien or that Ellen Ripley walks into, and it's like, kill me. It's one of those.
Yeah,
things.
one of those.
Yeah.
What's something that you wouldn't want? Some animal you wouldn't want to see or keep or whatever?
Definitely a bug, like a spider or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Because you can't make her something that's deadly.
No, because she'd just thrive.
Mm-hmm.
But then a spider could be deadly.
Exactly. So it's like she can't be a spider. She has to be something that, a worm, a snail.
He turns her into the lobster.
I was thinking that too.
Because, he said, lobsters live for like 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're always he that's also another thing. Colin Farrell picks a lobster, and the movie makes a point that, the animal you pick is very telling of who you are and your relationships and all that stuff, because the movie sets up this world where everyone who's in a relationship has to have like fundamental things that they are alike with.
Mm-hmm.
And him picking a lobster, I'm wondering, like, he gives his reason. He's like, they live forever. They're always fertile. They're blue-blooded,
mm-hmm.
which that's a joke in there. He's like, I've always wanted to be a blue blood. I mean, that sounds fancy.
Like aristocrats.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So I'm like, what are all these animals they're always, like, they're picking here?
Yeah.
Because I think John C. Reilly,
he's a parrot.
He's a parrot.
He's a parrot with a speech impediment.
I love that scene.
That's a good scene.
Where John just loses his shit and he's like, really? You want to be a parrot? You have a lisp. You're going to talk with a lisp when you're a parrot.
I mean, would a parrot talk with a lisp, though?
I don't know how to answer that question.
I think we gotta get a parrot in here. Do we have a parrot on standby?
Parrot, come in. No, he's a very mute parrot.
Yeah, he's off today.
Okay. Where else do we want to go with? I
want to go back.
Lobster?
I want to go back to the lady, the heartless woman,
the bitch.
The lobster would work for her because lives forever, doesn't need companionship. But I've never seen anyone talk about why is she there. I think she killed her husband.
Actually, maybe because that's. Sorry, I'm dying.
Dean's excited. He's got the burps.
I got the burps.
His soul almost came out.
My soul almost escaped my body. But that's actually an interesting point, because the whole movie, it's like, everyone needs to be in a relationship for this society to like work or whatever. Some people are there. It's like, well, my husband died, or my wife left me. So it's like, so all these people were in relationships and now they're broken up and now they're on like fucking Tinder Hotel.
Yeah.
So like, well. I think she did fucking kill her husband.
She had to.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, like, she doesn't want companionship. She's heartless. She's a fucking mass murderer, pretty much.
And she doesn't have to worry about running out of days because she, stacks up on bodies when they go out on the hunt.
Exactly. She knows she knows how to handle a gun. It's not like, I don't think she was the kind of person that got there and didn't know what she was doing. This is the world's most dangerous game for her.
She turned 18 and they were like, you need to find a relationship. She's like, no, just send me to the hotel.
Yeah, just send me.
They're like, well, why? And she's like, I've been training for this day my whole life. She starts polishing her custom-made trank gun.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's just been there for like 10 years. Just like hunting people, stocking up some days.
And that's another thing. At what point, like, do they decide you need to be in a relationship? Go here.
Okay, now we're gonna get into like the logic of this movie. What is the logic of this movie? I need to understand this, because like the whole like everyone needs to pair off. I'm like, I kind of get that. That's like, and no one can be alone for whatever population control. I don't fucking know, but like that like crosses. Okay, cool. But why turn them into animals? Why also is this in the most posh fucking hotel Ireland has to offer? Why is it there? Is there only one hotel?
Yeah, is it like that, like, around the world? Is, like, each county or I don't know, like, how they separate it or what? Like, each state have their own? Each county? I don't know, each city? I don't know what the deal is.
I'd be so depressed if I was sent to the hotel in, like, Ohio, and it's, like, a shitty Motel 6. Like, the ice machine is always broken. You're only dealing with, like, one-toothed trucker ladies the entire time.
Continental breakfast.
Okay, you're kind of selling me back on it. Maybe Ohio ain't that bad.
If they have waffles, I think we're good.
Ooh, yeah.
But also, if you had it in Ohio, those women, their days are unlimited because they're shooting anyone. They hunt deer for like no problem.
That's why this movie had to take place in like Europe, because if it was in America, they're like, these bitches been hunting men for decades.
Mhm.
They've been training with guns since they were 6.
We're out of animals here. We are out of animals. We're out of men. We were out of men because they turned into animals, and now we're out of animals.
It's wild. Like we stopped sending food into the hotels. But they're thriving. They're thriving in there.
The state of Ohio is just women.
Oh yeah,
That's it?
that's why we don't go there. Women are scary.
Oh yes, right.
Sorry.
It's okay. I've been scared this whole time.
It's just the logic of this movie is so fucking weird and wild, and I kind of love it
Mm-hmm.
because it goes into that like absurdity of this movie, which makes it so funny. You know, the kid who's like, well, I really wanted to hug my mother, but she was turned into a wolf, so I just kind of jumped in. They all mauled me, but except 2, and I knew one of them was my mother. But now I walk with a limp, so that's my defining characteristic.
I like how your English or Irish accent like has a little bit of Irish, but then you kind of go East Coast with it.
He does a good Irish accent. I don't know what's going on with him today.
To do the Irish accent, I'd really have to focus in on it.
It's those are your roots coming out. You
Yeah,
have to really dig deep.
I got to dig real deep for it.
But can he record the whole episode this way?
I can, but it's gonna be a pain in the arse.
That's one we should be talking like they do in The Lobster.
Well, okay then. I know it's a very nice day today. Out here. How are you doing?
That's pretty goddamn good.
I could be in a Yorgos Lanthimos. I can be in a Yorgi movie, okay?
A Yorgi.
A Yorgi movie.
A Yorgi movie.
I don't think you guys are on friend bases yet, where you could just call him Yorgi.
We did Warm Bodies the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, Nick Holt. And I was like, wait a minute.
I don't know him like that.
I don't know him like that.
Mm-mm.
Sir Nicholas Holt, yes. But, okay. This movie is, I think it's funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, Becky, I know you, when you were watching it, you told me there was no part you laughed out loud at, and then you thought about it, and then it was funny. How did you feel on your first run through when it opened with them shooting a donkey to death?
Very confused. Just very confused. But I mean, there were things that happened that I was like, you know, I'd watch it and be like, what the fuck? And then I'd be like, oh no, that is funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you know, definitely his monologue of, you know, I just miss my mother so much. I went to hug her and all the wolves attacked me. Like, how could they do that? You know, the absurdity. But thinking back on it, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of humor to it to kind of counterbalance the horror that's in it. Because, man, there are just some crazy things that happen in this movie.
For sure.
The movie has a very open thing about how it deals with, like, relationships. I think the society also, I'm getting into the more deep themey parts of it. Does this movie care about love at all?
No.
No, not at all.
Not at all? So, I wonder if that's why the whole Colin Farrell and Rachel Weisz thing seems so different than everything else in the movie, because they seem to, like, legitimately be in love, and the loners who are... Oh, fuck, that's right. We gotta talk about the loners.
Yes.
The
Yeah, we
fucking wild people.
Literally, they're in the wild.
Yeah.
Right? And they are... We dance alone, so we only listen to electronic music.
That made me laugh.
I was like, what the
Now that I think about when he comes back and they're all just dancing quietly.
They're
I was
all
like-
listening to their headphones, just like, oh.
I'm like, there's a silent disco in this movie. I'm like, okay, all right.
What is the deal with the loners? Because I guess they're like, oh, we don't want to be a part of relationships, because fuck that shit, I'm out. But then it's also like, what's with the poncho uniform? Why are you...
Very Hunger Games.
Very Hunger Games.
I mean, Ireland or wherever the hell it is, it's
cold?
It's cold and it's often wet.
It's often wet.
It's often wet.
It is often wet.
Don't forget
in
your
Ireland.
poncho. It is often wet here.
So, what did you think of the loners? Like, what are they? Because like the society is this very like societal pressure of relationships. Is the loner the other end of that, where it's like my life is an island, fuck everyone else kind of thing? Is that what they're representative of? Or,
Except you
what?
still can't have love. It's like you could do this, you could do that, but don't fall in love. Don't flirt. Don't kiss.
Or they'll give you, what is it, the red kiss?
The red kiss.
I never want to know what the red intercourse is. That sounds horrifying.
I can imagine what it is,
Yeah.
but they don't show it, so I'll never know.
We'll never know. We'll never know.
But I think maybe like the loner is like putting it through an American perspective. Might be like homelessness. I mean, they're really homeless.
Yeah.
But like, you know, if they're not part of society in a way that, I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say at this point now. But like,
It's
bro,
alright.
just
We
keep
do this
going.
all the time.
Just keep going.
you know, like,
It's just be like a politician. Never back off. Double down.
okay, so everyone in a relationship pretty much has financial success. Everyone's in a house. Everyone is out shopping in the
They get
malls.
to go to the mall.
They get to go to the mall. They get to do all these things. If you're a loner, you don't get a house.
Yeah.
You don't have anywhere to live. If you do want to go to the city, you have to pretend like you're normal. And their normal, of course, is anything but normal. But
And you have to have documentation.
yeah, documentation of marriage and all that stuff.
And if you're found alone by yourself, they check your hands, your feet,
Yeah.
everything. Make sure
you're not dirty. Make sure
Mhm.
you're not dirty.
actually, yeah, okay, you're onto something here. We're getting onto something. Okay.
Dean's getting the crazy eyes.
Yeah,
He's just
Let
like,
me get the tinfoil hat out.
The burps are gone. The crazy eyes are out.
soul is placed back into the body. He's good.
You guys are so mean to me.
We've known you forever, Dean. We know your pickups.
This
and
is
your
the first
hiccups.
day I've ever met these people.
So, if you aren't in a relationship, you are tantamount to being homeless.
Yeah, I mean that's just like spitballing it. That's what I think. That's not a deep thought. That's just they're homeless, so maybe they just represent, you know, the homeless.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Becky? What did anything jump out at you from like the loners of like what they could be representative of, or are they just the homeless masses?
Well, I mean, yeah, you know, I agree with Alex where, you know, they could be the homeless because basically they are homeless. But I also kind of took it, you know, the nerdy way where I'm like, oh, they're the Rebel Alliance and the rest of the world is the Empire, where it's, you know, you have to conform, you have to do this, you have to do that. And they're, you know, no, we're fighting for the greater good, but there's still a lot of rules, which is weird.
It's kind of like the other side of the evil coin.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're both bad for sure, but for some reason, the red kiss and the red intercourse kind of sound a little bit worse than being turned into an animal of your choosing.
Yeah.
I'm now thinking like, would I
Who
have
are the good guys?
Exactly. Would I turn into an animal or get the red intercourse?
And do I want my hand to go into a toaster?
Okay.
We've all done that. Come on.
Alex is over here being like, they caught me one too many times in Catholic school.
We've all done that. That's why I graduated to forks, because the hands hurt.
Again, the absurdity of this fucking movie. Where it's like, you were caught masturbating, John C. Reilly. It's like, please, I won't do it again. Stick your hand in the fucking toaster.
And I like how she says, like, you shouldn't have been oogling over the bare-breasted women on the horse, but you should have been oogling over the horse.
Because that's what you will turn into.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even animals are sexy, and that maybe they're furries.
They
They
could be.
furries.
what?
This movie
There's
has so many layers.
so many layers, like onions.
Yes.
Life is like an onion.
And how come no one can get turned into a plant?
And there are donkeys. We just need an ogre.
Mm-hmm.
No
There's-
dragons.
There's thoughts here. Somebody's like, what animal would you like to be turned into? I would like to be turned into a dragon. Like a Komodo. No. A mythical dragon.
It could be a Shrek prequel. All these talking. I mean, they don't talk in The Lobster, but they could talk. We don't know that.
They could.
We don't know that.
They have human intelligence, from what I understand.
Yeah.
They're communicative. And what if it's like on the longer timeline? That's why all the humans and stuff in the Shrek movies look weird, you know,
Mhm.
or it's like they're all like singing and dancing. They've regressed so much because all the smart people were loners and they're out in the vast universe now. And that's why Farquaad wants to marry so bad. He doesn't want to get turned into an animal.
Wow.
I think we're onto something here, boys.
Yorgi,
Weird.
we've got you.
We are beyond the looking glass. Where the fuck was I, by the way? What is talking about the loners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the loners.
Okay, so I think, you know, I think you're onto something there with them being like these homeless recluses. I was almost thinking about it like if the hotel is like society's pressure to be in relationships. You know, you don't have to love the person, you just have to be together. You know, I looked at the loners as like, oh, you know, those people who are just like, I'm an island. I would just want freedom, child-free life. Fuck all you people. Like, I'm gonna live on my own and like, you know, do whatever. You know, But I looked at that as like, well, okay, that's what you kind of are, but they're also like, you know, there's no love in my life. I don't have any deep emotional relationships to anyone around me. If one side's Tinder, the other side is Tumblr. You know, I don't know. I just wanted to use two T words together in a sentence.
Oh, I liked it.
It was good.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
I do like Tumblr.
I don't like Tinder.
I feel we have come together here and really found out what this movie's about. But,
Shrek.
because the movie's also kind of like a parody of those like speed dating sites, or at least like the hotel is, where it's just like, we're going to bring all these, 40 somethings together and try and match them up because none of us want to die alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
So how am I going to find love? I'll just keep bashing my face in so I bleed and, I match with this other girl that just bleeds all the time.
Yeah, that new lady, she doesn't really have a limp. She just has a sprained ankle. It'll heal.
Okay, there's another part of that movie that's fucking absurd. So,
But
like
if I club her, maybe she'll have a permanent limp.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If he's okay with smashing his nose in, he should be okay with,
just a little Tanya Harding on a friend,
Right.
Right.
Hobble her, Girl will be together forever.
We've seen that in the real world. It works.
Yeah.
God damn it. So the movie is making this point that you can't be in a relationship unless you have this singular compatibility trait, which is interesting. I don't really get why that's such. Well, is that just to make the ending work on a philosophical level?
Maybe they really don't know how relationships are, and they just think that you should be with someone who's exactly like you instead of someone who plays off of you. And, it's not about opposites attracting. It's about the same exact person being together.
Because, you get that once Rachel Weisz loses her sight, and he's just kind of like coming to her every day. You like berries? No. Do you like this? No. All right, I'll be back later. And it's just like, really? That's the level that we have to stoop to, You like milkshakes? No. Like,
they bring all the boys to the yard.
I know.
They do.
Indubitably.
Most definitely.
Yes. And I bring that up because the ending, we were talking about this on the way over here, because the ending is all built up to be, for David Colin Farrell to really be with Rachel Weisz, he has to blind himself because now she's blind.
Which is also fucked up.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up, right? Being like, hey, I know you were fooling around, so we're going to fucking blind you, bitch.
Yeah.
That's when I knew the Loners were not the Rebel Alliance. They were just the other empire. I gotta ask, do you think he blinded himself? Because it's left up to interpretation.
I think he did. I think you see how miserable he was in the beginning and throughout most of the movie. And I think you've seen him try to make things work with that one lady. And, he can't keep that up. But I really think the connection with Rachel Weisz is real with him. So, maybe he will actually do anything he needs to do to be with her.
I love when he's with the serial killer lady and she pretends to choke to death on the olive.
Yeah.
And he just lets her and then she wakes up. She's like, okay, good. You passed the test. So it's just like, what?
I like when they're going at it and he's like, she's like, did you say something? No.
and then she's like,
let me see your face.
Turn on the light so I can see you better. And it's like, and she's just like mad dogging him the whole time. And he's just like, don't show her my O face. Don't show her my O face.
And then he just dips into frame for a second and then comes right back out.
He
looks like he's about to kiss her. And he's like, nah, this ain't gonna fly. This ain't gonna fly, lady.
And you're watching her like, is she gonna, no, she just looks pissed off the entire time.
Why the fuck is she at this hotel? Why?
They're, like I said, they probably forced her to be there.
It's free. She gets to shoot people. Sounds like a win-win for her.
And that is what being an asexual is.
She watched the biscuit lady bite the dust and just kept drinking her tea.
She just kept going.
Speaking of the I loved the beginning of the movie where they're talking to Colin Farrell, interviewing him. It's like, so, heterosexual or homosexual for your choice? He's like, well, heterosexual. Well, I did have a homosexual experience in college. Well, is there a bisexual option? You need to pick one. He's like, oh.
Yeah, he thinks about it.
He thinks about it for like...
He takes a while.
A minute. And I'm like, I'm now very intrigued what he's going to say now.
Well, because that was something that we talked about on the way over, where we talked about the two best friends, the one that gets turned into the pony.
Yeah.
And it's like, why didn't they just lie and say, yeah, we're a homosexual so they can, save each other. And then, yeah, we'll just pretend, we're a couple, but we don't get turned into an animal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, maybe he was thinking the same too, oh, I can make guy friends here. And then, yeah, we'll say we're homosexual and we'll be together and we'll get out of here instead of, you possibly not finding somebody.
You game the system. So like you and a homie on the last day just like dip out.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be fine sharing a yacht with a buddy for what was it, 2 weeks or something?
Something like that, and you wear, the nice yacht clothing.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. We won't argue, so we won't need a kid.
That was hilarious. That made me laugh out loud when they were like, yeah, and, if you can't, get along with your partner, we will give you a child to fix all your problems.
Yeah, that usually helps.
I was like, yes.
Oh, God. And I like how they don't give them, like, a baby. It's like, here's this nice 12-year-old girl.
12-year-old kid.
Here you go.
I love when
Christ.
David kicks her. When John's like, oh, yeah, give my friend David a hug. And he just kicks her like, fuck that kid.
I don't want a hug from a little girl.
He's like, now you'll have a limp like your daddy. You should be thanking me.
But, like, that's another thing, adding a kid to the mix so the fighting stops. It's like, obviously, these people are going to be fighting because they're not compatible with each other. Not at all.
It's based on a lie.
Yeah, it's all a lie. And even then, who knows how many of the relationships that actually go through in that hotel are real.
Any substantive relationship.
Exactly. So, obviously, they had to come up with a way to stop the fighting. So, they're like, here's a kid. So, they've definitely... You could see they've gone through trial and error to get to where they are now. They're like, oh, people fight, give them a kid. This, that, this, and that. They've seen how bad their system is, and they're just going fixing it in different ways.
It's also that stereotype or joke or saying of like, oh, if the relationship's going bad, have a kid. Like you'll stay together because of the kid. Even if you hate yourself, you stay together because of the kid. And I'm like, man,
and it just makes them more miserable.
And it just makes them more bitchy at each other. Lordy. This movie is just, it's a really interesting take on like all these little aspects of relationships and of people's views of relationships who are kind of cynical about it. Because this feels like very cynical view of like relationships and loves and companionship.
And that kid fucking sucks too, by the way.
She tells her, he's like, stab him, daddy. Stab his bitch ass.
It's like that kid was trained for those exact situations.
That was hilarious.
What kid was going to say that? What real kid's going to say that?
And I like that you don't see her, but you could just see the
knife
knife just waving. She's like, take the knife. Get him.
Do it, daddy. Fuck that bitch up.
Do it.
She's
the emperor.
I would have
it all comes back to Star Wars.
I think I would have fucking died if she like waves the thing. It's like, do it, and it cuts over, and it's Emperor Palpatine in there to be like, do it. Oh God.
But I even love when the loners are doing their takeover and they're gonna ascend on the yachts and the hotel, and they don't hurt anybody. They go and they kind of cast a shadow of doubt in these happy couples, like the managers, where it's just, I'm gonna kill either one of you. Who should live? And he gets very comfortable in bed. He's like, well, I do enjoy my private time and sitting in the room and having tea. Yeah, bitch gotta go.
Yeah, I like when she's working.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. It gives me time to hang out. I'll be on my own. And then he like pulls the trigger on the gun and it just doesn't go off.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this... I really want to see the next scene. I need to see the next scene of those two just fucking yelling at each other. Or being like, oh, don't worry. I would have done the same to you, darling.
Yep. And then they just go at it.
Just railing,
Mm-hmm.
Or, someone gets hit by a dart and gets dragged upstairs to the animal changing room.
Yeah. I want to see what the process is. They kind of go into it, but it's all rumors.
Yeah.
I want to know what the process is.
I wonder if there's even a process, or if they just give a dog to make everyone else think, oh, don't worry, if you don't find anybody, you just turn into a nice animal. But it's just, they just go in there, kill you, and then just send out a border collie after.
They do say that in the rumor that, they chop up your body parts and stuff, so.
They just keep your brain, your eyes, and your heart.
I guess, but then they drain you of your blood and send them to the hospital. Like, you can't. What about the blood for the animal,
Or it's Stepford Wives, where they have all the computers and, oh, okay, you're a dog now, you do this, go fetch, hit all those buttons, and could be fancy in there.
You walk in, it's just fucking Willy Wonka's, like, fucking chocolate factory.
It's another brick in the wall, part 2 of the video.
Yes, it is literally that. Oh, Jesus Christ.
This movie offers everything.
It's fucking wild.
It has everything,
wild.
Yet there's so much to debate about, so much to just theorize about with it.
And I think that's why the movie's fascinating, is because up front, it is this black comedy that's about relationships, about, whatever, but it's also this sci-fi dystopia in the background that I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the... Why? How? what are these cops doing? Also, why is she on the ground like that? Why are they inspecting her for dirt?
Yeah, dirt on her shoes.
There's no mud on her shoes, no dirt on her fingernails. Do people not work construction anymore?
Right.
Like, are there no
Even though
Everything's
there's
already built.
I'm pretty sure there was construction going on in the background at the end when they were in the diner, though. So someone's got to do it.
Was that like the symbolic nature of like, oh well, these two are now going to build a relationship as like this construction is going on in the background? Like, I think that's why I like this movie is because it's kind of reminiscent of those like really artsy movies of like the 60s, 70s where it's like, oh, everything in the background is like, you know, symbolic of what else is going on and all this other stuff, you know. But it's all very interpretive.
And it's crazy how like you get to the hotel and you see how absurd everything is and how weird it is. Yet that feels more normal than when they're out in the city. Like when they're out in the city, everything just feels even more off. Like just off in some sort of way.
You don't see too many people.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear the cars going by, but it still kind of has like a ghost town kind of vibe to it.
They're only people are in the mall on the street. They're just walking down the street. There's no other cars really going by. And it's just, the city definitely feels dystopian, but the hotel somehow feels the most normal out of all of it. Somehow, I don't know.
I get what you're going at because the city is this. It's like we should like okay. The hotel, I think we expect it to be a little like off or whatever. It's like, you know, how do you interact with people at a hotel? Kind of like, I don't really know you, so I'm just gonna be as cordial and kind of blank as possible because I don't. Like, we don't know each other. But in the city, I'm like, this is a city. It's also, like, not a small city. It's, like, this big metropolitan. I think it's Dublin, actually. So it's, like, it's a real-ass city. And it's, like, where is, like, everyone on the streets? Why is it that when we're in the mall, it's so, like, cold? Like, there's no teenagers. There's no, like, people with, like, families. There's no...
Because there's more animal than there are people?
Maybe. I thought about that, too.
I'm also one again about the logic of this. So is it like 18 you have to find somebody, or is it like 13? Is it like, because there's no teenagers, the only kids you see are the one that's kind of assigned.
Yeah.
So is it like at birth you're kind of like taken away for the hotel thing and you're just like assigned out, or what?
Is high school pretty much just trying to get you ready for relationships? You know, like high school now, we're going to teach you how to do this and that. And then you get out in the real world and you don't know how to do any of that because they didn't really teach you. But high school there is probably like, when you get out in the real world, you're going to have to find this person who's just like you.
You have blowjobs 101 for this, this school, being like, now if you are going to go out and be successful in life, you got to work the balls, you know, get the yaw going, all right? And boys, pay attention. You don't know.
You might have to do this too.
You don't know. If you go to the hotel, your sacrifices need to be made. This movie's fucking absurd. I kind of love it.
So like, I feel like maybe like it's so dystopian. Like all the schools are kind of like boarding schools or something. So all the kids are away. You know.
And if your parents go through a divorce, do they just take you?
That's another thing. Yeah. Divorce is a thing in this, right?
Yeah, because he gets left. So where does she end up?
Well,
she got someone. She left him for someone else who wears glasses.
Ah, okay.
Who's like and I love how his whole defining characteristic is I'm nearsighted.
Yeah,
and that's it. That's how he bases his entire relationships on.
Which he doesn't say any of that until he gets to the loners. Like they don't ask him there what his defining feature is. We don't see him do his opening monologue thing.
His open mic.
Yeah, his open mic. You know, and everyone's like, "Oh, my defining feature is this." We don't see him do his, but until we get to the loners, when he finds out Rachel Weisz is short-sighted like him. That's the only time. That's when we figure it out. And but we know he's good at skiing and stuff. Like he said, he's good at that.
He likes water sports.
He likes water sports. He was
he can
good.
Swim.
He said in high school, right?
Oh yeah.
He did say in high school. They do got high schools, so who knows how they do it there.
But also, I'm like, would I lie to try and get to Rachel Weisz?
Yes.
Yeah. I figured that would be true. I also like how Becky was like, absolutely, Mummy era Rachel Weisz. You know,
I kept thinking that the whole time.
The Mummy 99 changed us all.
Oh, God.
Oh. Like people are like, I'm not sure about my sexuality. Watch
The
1999 Mummy. You'll figure it out by the end.
That's why I've never seen the third Mummy. She's not in it. I'm not interested.
Exactly. Thank you. Dean doesn't understand why I won't do it.
I will go back. I'll go back for Brendan Fraser. I do love Brendan Fraser, but I mean...
And he's down.
Yeah, I believe it. But I mean, at that young age, when you're a young boy, you watch movies for certain things. You like your action. You like
your adventures.
I like Rachel Weisz. That's what I was for. If she wasn't in The Mummy 3, I wasn't gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Brendan Fraser. I'm sorry, Brendan Fraser. You're great. You're magnificent. If you're listening to this, you kill it in The Whale. But the movie would have been better with Rachel Weisz. Come on.
No, well, I mean, obvious. Every movie's better with Rachel Weisz, except Black Widow, but totally different reasons.
Never seen it.
Same.
Wanted to see it only because of her. And I like Florence Pugh.
Oh yeah, Florence Pugh is in that movie.
Yeah.
I was like, I like Florence Pugh, and then she did like Don't Worry, Darling, and
I like that movie.
Why?
I thought it was pretty good. I don't know what everyone was talking about. I thought it was pretty good.
Oh.
I was in it for Harry Styles, and then people were like, no, it's horrible, don't watch it. So I might have to watch it.
I was in it for Florence Pugh, and I'm like, she needs to be in it more. And she's the main goddamn character. But I mean, I liked it. That's it. Move on from Don't Worry, Darling. That's our next one.
We'll get on to that one when we have to be like, what? Well, it's so telegraphed, but it's also trying to be a twisty movie.
Movies people don't like that you actually like. Alex picks Don't Worry, Darling. I could pick so many different ones, though. Like The Lone Ranger.
Ooh.
The one with Johnny Depp and...
Yes, that movie slaps.
The Lone Ranger.
Slaps.
I have a Lone Ranger badge at home. I'll wear it for that episode.
I can't talk shit. I fucking love Quigley Down Under. That movie's a banger.
We gotta talk about Mac and Me as well.
Ooh.
Okay, you're full of shit.
Ooh.
You cannot like Mac and Me unironically.
Come on. It's filmed locally. It's Mac and Me. It's a classic. And I'm still waiting for their return. Because it says at the end, Mac and Me will return.
Oh my
Someday.
God. Okay. So you know how they do those like revival sequels where it's just like, oh, we got the cast together after 20 years to finally make the sequel to cash on a nostalgia bait?
Mm-hmm. With Californians with British accents?
California with British accents. Do you think they would actually make a Mac and Me 2 to cash in on like the, oh, it's so bad it's good, everybody, you'll love it, like Sharknado 2 or whatever, if they did like the Disaster Artist like for Mac and Me?
I'd watch it. Have you seen the original ending of Mac and Me? Have you seen Mac and Me?
I've seen it once, and then I was like, I don't need this in my life anymore, and I think I've tried to purge it from my brain since then, but wait, there's a different ending to Mac and Me?
There's an original ending of Mac and Me where, so...
We're off the Lobster right now.
Yeah.
We're on Mac and Me
We'll
now.
be back for the Lobster. So there's, when he's in the wheelchair and the building explodes behind him and all the, all that. And oh, is he dead? So originally, and I don't know if it was released in Japan this way still or what the deal is, but originally they filmed it and everything. You could find it online. I watch it every once in a while.
Just when you're feeling down, you're like, I need some Mac and Me explosions.
Yeah. So the cops are shooting towards the kid. And before the explosion goes off, he gets fucking shot. And he's like, ugh! And he dies.
What?
And he dies. I swear, that's the original ending of that movie. He fucking dies.
Becky, do you know about Mac and Me?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Because it was supposed to be an E.T. ripoff, right?
Yeah.
E.T.
Just a
ripoff
straight
produced by McDonald's.
I knew it was produced by McDonald's. And now I'm like, what would happen if Elliot died at the end of E.T.? I wonder how that would have played.
If Elliot got.
He got in this one, Elliot got. The original ending, he just popped. He's literally like trying to like push his way before the explosion goes off. Guns are going off and he's just
How did he die again?
And it's all ultra wide, so it's just like his it's not even, you can't even see him. It's just his I'm
silhouette.
so excited. Yeah, his silhouette. And it's just his little silhouette in a wheelchair.
I wonder, it's shot like it's a fucking Seven Samurai. This big glorious.
It's a
wide
gorgeous.
shot.
Have you seen the way that movie's shot?
You are full of shit. It is shot on Shitio.
It's a gorgeous film. I'm still trying to get people together to recreate the McDonald's dance scene.
Oh God. Okay, actually, that shouldn't be as hard as you think it is.
It's not. I'm just too scared I'm going to mess it up. I don't want to disgrace Mac and Me like that.
Jesus, tap dancing, Christ.
You asked for this.
I did ask for this.
You
but
wanted to know what
And
our favorite.
it starts out like a ghost, like a haunted house movie too. They think their fucking house is haunted for maybe 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
How can you tell me that's not a good movie?
Everyone in it is terrible actors.
You could say that about The Lobster. They're just reading lines.
One point.
They're just reading lines.
In The Lobster, it is a point for them to act awkwardly.
Well, first of all, okay, we're going back to The Lobster now.
We're back in.
Forget about Mac and Me. That was just a segue.
Never forget about Mac and Me.
Don't forget about Mac and Me. Mac and Me's segment was just a segue to get us to where we are now for The Lobster. For The Lobster, I read that Yorgos Lanthimos doesn't tell actors how to act. For some reason, whenever people work with him, they just do that.
They're just blanks?
Yeah, they just blank. I've read that somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's on an IMDb trivia thing.
Because I thought it was like a point like he's trying to be like Robert Bresson, where he's like, oh, they're not actors, they're models, and they're just there to say my lines, and then their actions are telling their story. But like it's like, well, I kind of get that, but is he literally telling them like no, you're putting too much emotion on that line? And Colin Farrell's like, I just said it like a human. He's like, no,
like a robot.
He's like, oh, okay.
And it's also his first English language movie. So I've seen Dogtooth and I've seen Alps. Maybe I'm just a stupid American, but I mean, Greek just sounds, Greek to me. So
are you proud of that one?
I am proud of that. I didn't plan it. It just came out and it was perfect. But I mean, I can't tell if they're delivering the lines deadpan. Like, I don't know. I mean, most of the times I have to fucking read the thing, so I can't really see what they're doing. But I mean, it's his first language movie, or first English language movie.
First language movie. Everything else was silent.
It's his first movie, yeah. First language movie. And I mean, I don't know if it was a conscious choice, but I mean, even The Favorite, they kind of play it like that, so.
Is it the same with like Killing of a Sacred Deer? Because I think in Killing of a Sacred Deer,
Killing of a Sacred Deer, that movie's terrifying. But yeah,
well, I thought
that's his horror movie right there.
Because I thought at the end of it, it was like they're like the kids are crying and stuff like that, and like it's like a lot more like emotional, or they're like bigger, I guess.
It does. It is much more of an emotionally heavy movie, but they still deliver it the same way.
The acting in this is fucking weird, but I think in this it do you think Yorgos Lanthimos? You think Lancelot here? You think Lancelot here is doing it as a conscious choice? He's like, I want everyone to deliver it as robotically and as stiff as possible, or is it a thing where he's like, I know how to tell the story, I know how I want it to look, but I have no idea how to like interact with the actors in a way, so I'll just make it this way.
I don't know. You're on first name basis with him, so you should tell me.
I'm not on first name basis. I have fucked up his name heavily.
I don't know either of his names.
None of them. Text Yorkie. He'll tell you.
I do apologize, but like that's the thing, because I think there are directors like that, right? Where Stanley Kubrick, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone says, oh, he's this very he tries to make these insular worlds, and he's like, but he's not good at talking to actors. He just makes them do the take 300 times until he figures out what it is. So I'm like, is this like the same thing where he's like, I don't really know what I want the actors to do. I just want them to say the lines and I'll figure it out later. I'm wondering like what that is, because there are directors who just don't work well with actors in that way, but they know what the story they want to tell is, so they just kind of work through it. Do you think it's a conscious thing he's trying to attempt, or is it just a product of how he works?
My impression was that this is the product that he wants. He wants them to be very drone-like, because that's the world they live in, where it's not about love or emotions. It's just, you have this similarity to me. Okay, you have the right documentation. Okay, that's all we need. Mm-hmm. And when we get David and Rachel Weisz's character together, that's when we actually see humanity. And it's kind of weird, after seeing, people kind of soft-spoken, not, really reacting to things, and then them where it's just, oh no, they're in love, they're happy, they genuinely enjoy each other's company, and it feels so alien-like because that's not the world that they live in. And that's why I thought, that's what he was going for in the movie.
It's a very sterile world.
I get that, but I mean, you mentioned it's in all of his movies
I don't know about his Greek ones
because they're Greek to
because
you.
they're all Greek to me. But
I mean, it probably is like a conscious choice. It's just so weird because I can't think of many movies that are like this except movies that are like hashtag cheap and bad. Like, but this movie's not bad.
it's kind of like if an alien made it. An alien made it about humans.
Actually, yeah. Actually, yes, you are correct, sir.
I don't know if I read that somewhere, but I'm taking credit.
Quoted, Alex Leto. It was made by aliens.
Yorgos Lanthimos is not Greek. He's aliens. Because aliens are Greek to me.
Oh, sweet Christ.
It all comes back to Mac and me.
Mac and me. Not Greek to me.
So where else do we want to go with the lobster? Where's the side of butter we want to get in?
What else have you written down? I feel like we've barely gone past the first paragraph.
There's stuff here. Okay, so let me have a look at my big book. My big book of notes I make.
You're gonna have to give him time because he can't read his own handwriting.
I can't read. That's why I can't watch Yorgos Lanthimos Greek movies.
Just sit there. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what they're saying.
This natural lighting is beautiful, but I don't know what's going on.
I mean, we did kind of like beat around for most of my notes. What about you, Becky? I see you have a long little checklist in front of you. What do
No, I mean, we
to?
more or less hit the things that were on my checklist.
I see.
Because there's a lot of production stuff, like the natural lighting, which...
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I mean, being, in Ireland, it's like you're in one of the most beautiful places in the world, natural lighting. I thought it was interesting that no one had makeup on in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, yeah, if you're, like you said, in the sterile world and you're trying to go based off of, we have this in common. Yeah, no one's going to have makeup. No one's going to be trying to.
It's not about looks.
It's not about looks.
It's not about how you look in this world.
No. And I think it's smart. I mean, he really
I've got it made out in that world.
You always got to try and tear yourself down.
I can't help it.
I mean, Dean gets mad when I do it to myself, but it's funny.
Self-deprecating humor, please.
Give me more.
But that is like an interesting note because the movie, it is really weird because it looks like way more expensive than it probably actually was because there really wasn't any lighting in this movie. It was all natural.
Yeah, only the stuff at night had lighting, but I mean...
That's like 2 shots?
Yeah.
Or 2 scenes?
That's another thing I saw it in a video a long time ago, but I think we could talk about it because I think it'd be cool, is that it compared the look of this movie to, like, paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I kind of see it, I don't remember what the video exactly was, but when they're running through the forest at first...
In that slow-mo?
Yeah, that slow-mo, it's like
Yeah.
watching, like, a moving painting, and, like, I feel like, not that the movie's like, oh my god, it's composed so beautifully, like, you see like a Wes Anderson movie or something, which it does kind of have a Wes Anderson vibe, just kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, if Wes Anderson was a fucking alien.
Wes Anderson might be an alien. I'm just throwing it out there. He just is from a different galaxy.
He's from a colorful galaxy, He a very symmetrical galaxy.
Yeah, because Becky was surprised you didn't pick like a Wes Anderson movie for this, because you're a big Wes Anderson guy.
The only Wes Anderson movie I could think of as like a romantic comedy was Moonrise Kingdom. That movie makes me uncomfortable. It's my least favorite Wes Anderson movie. I don't hate it, but I don't want to be talking about kids.
Is Moonrise Kingdom his worst movie? Because I heard people love that movie.
I mean, that's the one. Every time someone parodies Wes Anderson, I feel like they're just parodying that movie.
Mm-hmm.
They always put the French music, and it's like, well, that's just Moonrise Kingdom. Everything before, yeah, Darjeeling Limited had French music, but it's mostly Indian music. But like, yeah, whenever someone parodies a Wes Anderson thing, it's always the same Francois Hardy song from Moonrise Kingdom, and I don't know. I think it's a great movie, but it's my least favorite.
I feel you're wrong. I think it's Isle of Dogs.
That's your least favorite?
Probably, yeah.
But see, I think with Moonrise Kingdom, I don't think he perfected the PG-13 rating. Felt kind of... That movie could have been rated R. Moonrise Kingdom could have been rated R. Like, without changing much and just adding a few, like, maybe a fuck or two,
Adding a what?
A fuck or two.
Just a fuck or two.
Just a fuck or two.
Just a fuck or two.
Yeah, I mean that constitutes an R rating. I feel like if he kept his R-rated style with that movie, but kept the kid relationship the same, I think it'd be a little bit more funny and not maybe a little less weird because you're laughing at more things. I don't know. That's just me, but I think he did a really good job with the PG-13 rating for Isle of Dogs, especially for an animated movie.
I suppose, but I also think Grand Budapest is overrated.
I'm leaving. It's not my favorite, but it's up there.
Don't leave. I didn't say it was a bad movie. I think it's a great movie, but people are like, this is one of the greatest movies of the 21st century. I'm like, there's a lot of good movies of the 21st century.
I don't know about the 21st century, but at the turn at 2010 to 2020, those 10 years, I'd say it's like one of the most important movies of those 10 years. That, I would say The Master and Fury Road.
And Fury Road, definitely.
Yeah.
But The Lobster's not on there?
The Lobster's definitely on there, but I mean, it's like a fucking alien made it, so it's really weird.
Oh, lordy. Okay, so let's circle back on The Lobster and ask, like, I guess the defining question of the movie, because you came in and you wanted to kind of argue that this is a romantic comedy, that all right, in the romantic comedy genre, we went through a whole month talking about it. We talked about The Awful Truth, which is like old school screwball romantic comedy. We did The Apartment, which is kind of like this romantic dramedy. We did Annie Hall, which is a straight romantic comedy. And we did Warm Bodies, which is kind of like a genre mashup of like horror and romance and comedy and all that stuff. And this is a movie that how do you think it qualifies within that category? Because is it funny? I would say it is, but it's a very different kind of humor, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of niche.
Niche is the way you would put it?
Yeah, like it's not funny for general, it's funny. It's like there's that very small specific group of people who love Coen Brothers movies and anything that you're not supposed to laugh at that is funny.
You're David Lynch fans.
Yeah.
And it is a movie about like romance, but it's not passionate.
It's not a romantic movie.
No.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. Because it's like, where is your argument on it that it is a romantic comedy? Like, where are the genre trappings that you're like, it's either directly referencing it or subverting it, I guess?
Well, I think straight up that movie's just hilarious. I think it's just a hilarious movie. And the fact that it's about, relationships and romance or lack thereof, to me, right there, the topic of the movie and the genre that I think it is, that's what makes it a romantic comedy to me. Does it subvert romantic comedies as a genre? Probably not, because I don't think it's trying to be anything other than
exactly
whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. Alien.
Well, what about you, Becky? Miss Boo over there.
Yeah, I mean, off the bat, I was like, I don't know how this is going to be a comedy. And then I was just kind of like, oh, I shouldn't be laughing at it. But I'm like, yeah, so I see the comedy. It's not, like the movies that we talked about this month where screwball comedies, you have like physical humor. No one's, falling down. If they are falling down in this movie, they're getting shot. That's why they're
digging their own graves.
Yeah, they're digging their own graves and, tip, cover yourself with, dirt and, cover your face too so the dogs don't eat your face. And it's just like, it's not funny, but at the same time, it is because...
Who says that?
Who says that? And also Colin Farrell where, he's just like, okay, well, let me take off my glasses first. And then
he gingerly sets them aside and then puts the dirt on his face.
So it's these absurd things where it's like, I shouldn't be laughing at this, but how can you not?
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting thing about the movie is that the things you're laughing at, you should not be laughing at. And I think that's the nature of like a black comedy.
Yeah.
Because this movie you would describe as a black comedy, right? Where the, morbid things can be really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
I think it's not even like as morbid as other black comedies are. Like Fargo, I laugh every time they shoot the cop. Has nothing to do with real world situations. I just think it's like you're just watching the movie and then he just reaches over, bam. I was like, it's just Shit.
Shit, that shit
Whoa.
fucking happened.
And I watch that movie a lot, and every time I'm like, whoa, that happened.
Oh God. But I guess where else do we want to go with the Lobster? Anybody got any final thoughts on it? Got very quiet.
We're thinking about our final thoughts.
Oh, I see.
Our thoughts before we turn into an animal
Yeah.
of our choosing. The silverback gorilla,
Oonga boonga.
a cat,
I'm gonna go get some catnip.
and penguin and or red panda. Still have not decided.
Could they split you?
I don't think they do fusions.
Oh.
What if there was like a cat dog situation?
I'd be very interested. Like, well, what if you're a Siamese twin? If you're a Siamese twin, do they like separate you?
What about the one that has a partner as opposed to the one that doesn't?
Okay, so
Saul almost came out again.
I watched the movie Freaks by Todd Browning I don't know, last week, and that exact thing happens in that movie.
Yeah.
Where it's the Siamese twin, and one of them is in like a relationship, and the other one's not, and she's there like doing her things while the other one's making out with their new husband, and I'm like, this the one that's just hilarious.
Oh yeah.
And in this movie, I'm like, well, how would that work out? That seems very interesting, because we also don't see anybody that's like I guess like atypical kind of thing. Like there's nobody in the movie that has any kind of like disability or anything that would like preclude them from finding like a romantic partner.
All you get is a limp.
Oh yeah, a limp or a lisp.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's the guy that has like, no legs but is like fucking jacked out of his mind?
Mhm.
Where's the guy that only has like one arm? Where are those people?
Also, what if it's like a Soylent Green situation?
I am interested.
Because, yeah, I like what you said. Like, who knows if they actually get turned into an animal? They just go back there, they get killed, and then they release whatever animal.
And say that's you.
That's why they ask when they get there, what animal do you want to be turned into? It gives them time to get that animal.
45 days.
45 days.
I think in 45 days I can pick up an elephant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pick up an elephant. Pick up. Can you turn into? Like, would you be able to turn into extinct animals? Because they said something about extinction, and there's like, oh, animals that no one chooses. That's why animals go extinct.
Well,
Can I change my answer to T-Rex?
I don't see why not.
what about a dodo bird?
But see,
You and the dodo bird, I swear.
They're adorable.
but maybe that's why they say, like, think about what you want. You don't want to be something that no one wants. That's why animals are extinct. That they can't get a dinosaur. They can't get a dodo bird.
Yeah.
They can't get these certain things, so they plant it in your mind that you have to be something,
Realistic.
real.
I wonder how many times they just release a fucking dog. Just be like, oh, he wanted to be a Komodo dragon, but we couldn't get that. And then they just change the paperwork. He said dog. Here you go.
Dog. Or I want to know who wants to be turned into a snake, because that's scary.
What about a starfish? Because isn't like a thing starfishes are like basically immortal? Like they can regenerate like lost parts and they live like a super long time?
I guess. I'd be a starfish if mermaids were real.
Hey.
Like, as soon as he said it, like, I already know where he's going.
We've all seen Little Mermaid. We've read the literature.
She's a kid, man. Come down.
She's 16.
Wait a minute. How old is Ariel? I thought Ariel was like this immortal thing, right? Or
Well,
is
she's
she...
16.
She's
Is
16.
she?
Yeah.
Huh.
By my calculations, it's underage.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I always thought... Fuck, when was the last time I saw Little Mermaid now?
It's a
Probably
good movie,
in the 90s? Yes, I agree.
Probably in the 90s. Probably. Is Little Mermaid the best, like, of those Disney Renaissance movies?
The
Or-
Renaissance, for sure, yeah. That's the best one out of the Renaissance movies.
Are you... I really like Beauty and the Beast, but I think I'm also... I don't know. I just really like Beauty and the Beast more.
I like Beauty and the Beast. I like Little Mermaid. I like Aladdin, but it's Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid kickstarted it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just... That's the gold standard.
Lion King, though.
I don't even like The Lion King.
What?
Ooh.
Lion King
It's
2.5?
overrated. I don't remember the 1.5.
Yeah.
This
no
is
1.5.
fucking plebeian.
It's overrated. I do like Hercules, though.
Yes.
Okay, Hercules is a banger.
Mhm.
Hercules, I think, has the best soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hercules is probably the second best.
I agree. Little Mermaid, number 1. Hercules, 2.
Mm-hmm. Lion King, get the hell out of here.
Really?
Yeah.
I like Lion King. But
I think it's kind of
I also like Elton John. So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I like Elton John too, but I don't like The Lion King. It's just overrated, and I feel like it's just a stereotypical choice for a male child to pick, and it's just just pick Hercules.
You always want to like rebel against the the mainstream.
No, it's just it's just boring.
You're telling me Lion King's boring?
It's boring.
Becky,
I enjoy The Lion King, but he's entitled to his opinion.
I think it's boring.
Even wrong opinions?
I mean, he picked out my favorite Disney princess, one of my favorite Disney movies, Hercules. So we're good.
I know what I'm talking about.
Aladdin.
Lion King's
Aladdin's up
boring.
there.
But The
I can
Lobster
disagree.
is not boring.
The Lobster's good.
Even though it very well could be boring.
Did this movie do well when it came out? Because I know it got nominated for like...
I think for an A24 movie it did back when A24 movies weren't really doing much.
Yeah, that's... I was kind of weirded out when I saw the A24 logo come up, and I was thinking about it, and it's... How long has A24 been around? It hasn't been around that long. Like, I thought it was only around for like maybe a decade.
I think 2013 or 2012 was probably the first big release or something.
Yeah, and I think The Lighthouse came out...
Lighthouse was 2019.
2019?
And
Okay.
so The Witch was 2015 as well.
It was like 2015 or 16, right? Because there was a
I think
couple
it was
years gap.
I think so I think it came out 2015, but wide release 2016 because it came out around my birthday. So I think that was 2016, my birthday. Because I don't think I was in high school anymore. So
No, I'm pretty sure you weren't, because I think we were already like friends by that point.
I think so.
Because you were telling me to go see The Witch, and then I tried to, and I'm like, it is not in any theater
And then
on Earth.
I remember when I did my 8mm or my 16 millimeter film, and I forgot who it was, but they kept telling me in class like that. It reminded me of The Witch. Reminded me of The Witch, and I was like, well, it's about a witch. So
Just letting you know.
he's like, it felt like I shouldn't have been watching that. I was like, oh, okay.
You're like, I felt a great compliment being compared to Robert Eggers' The Witch.
Right? No one knew, which I think is crazy because he's from a part of New Hampshire that's pretty close to where my grandma's from. And Dio. My grandma's from the same town as Dio.
That's pretty strong.
But they didn't know each other, unfortunately. I'm kind of mad.
She knew his sister though.
I don't. She doesn't recognize the name.
Doesn't recognize
no one recognizes the name. I'm like, Grandma, you don't know Dio? The hell's the matter with you?
So, how did everyone like The Lobster?
It's a fine film.
It's a fine film.
Yes, very good. It's like an alien made it.
Becky, Miss Boo, thoughts on The Lobster?
I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected. I wasn't sure what I was walking into, and then, the donkey kill, the dog kill. I was like, oh man, where are we going from here? And
I shouldn't like it. I should not like that movie because of those reasons.
exactly,
But
I
do.
shouldn't. But I was like, no, there's a lot to it, and yeah, I ended up really liking it.
I liked it too. It's really striking how it looks, how the movie is like playing itself, and it's like I shouldn't be laughing.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't like sympathize with anybody, but I do, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it was like a really wonderful movie. I really did like it.
It's a thinker.
It is a thinker.
It is a thinker for sure. The more you think about it, the more you like it.
But with that is The Lobster.
Yes, that was. And before we go, Alex, what is your favorite movie? Could be all time or right now.
There Will Be Blood and Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Those are the two. Those are my two top two.
Brava.
True masterpieces.
Yes.
True
Yes.
masterpieces.
Those are the. If I have to put on a list for everyone to see, the greatest movie of all time, it's just those two.
You've gotten rid of Boogie Nights? That was your favorite for so long.
I mean, I love Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights is my second favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie and my second favorite movie because There Will Be Blood and Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island both take number one.
They're very strong.
I can respect that.
Yeah, those are my choices.
But with that, where can people find you? Where can they follow you? Anything coming up?
I'm on Instagram at a.leto_bitcool. A little bit cool.
Strong.
That is my Insta. I don't have anything going on right now. I mean, personally, I'm just, living. But I did just film a music video for a couple buddies of mine that I've known since junior high for their new band. That is Chickachino Band. You could check their Instagram out. They just released a song, Summer Days, and the music video released yesterday, and I shot that. And that's about all I got right now.
Nice.
All right. Let's everybody make sure to check that out. But Miss Boo, what are we doing next on the Film Club?
Next, we're jumping into our musical March month.
Yeah, and you guys can go follow that on all the social media platforms, all the listening platforms.
Yeah, on all the podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, and eventually YouTube.
Yeah, you can go to our YouTube channel, The Film Vault. We show quote-unquote video versions of this podcast. They're mostly my slideshows, but hey, go check them out. Like, comment, subscribe, and you can follow us on social media at the places.
Yeah, on Instagram at the Film Club Podcast, where we post daily stories, upcoming episodes, trivia, and our random adventures.
And with that...
Hold on, sorry.
Yes.
I've been fighting myself, but I'm going to do it. I wanted to keep it a secret, but I'm pregnant. No, I'm not pregnant.
God, congratulations!
I knew it.
I wanted to keep my Letterboxd a secret, but I kind of want more followers. So I'm also on Letterboxd. It is not a little bit cool. It's not my name at all. It's Lavid Dinch. So it's just David Lynch, but switch the first letters. Just give me a follow. Look at my reviews. I think some of them are pretty good. Some of them are really in-depth reviews, and some of them are just little ditties. So.
Yeah, because Dean keeps trying to pressure me into opening up a letterbox for myself.
I really like Letterboxd.
It's pretty useful. I mean, just today I heard a song on the radio at work, and I was like, "Where did I hear this song that wasn't at work?" I heard it the other day in some movie that I watched. What did I do? I went to my Letterboxd. I was like, "It's not that one. It's got to be this one." I'm pretty sure it was Magic Mike XXL. So
there you go. We could have talked about that today.
We could have talked about Magic Mike.
I like the first one. I don't like the second one.
I mean, this new one coming out has, him in love with Salma Hayek.
I just want to. I mean, come on.
It's Salma Hayek.
Yeah. That's why I'm single.
It's like Rachel Weisz, all right? It's Salma Hayek.
I mean,
okay, wait a minute.
Rachel Weisz, yes, but I'm in my Salma Hayek phase, and it's been like this for 15 years.
All right, here's
short amount of time.
Here's the real question. Who's hotter? All right, Rachel Weisz from The Mummy or Salma Hayek from Dusk Till Dawn?
Okay, if we're going those two, I'm gonna say Rachel Weisz.
Okay,
but overall, Salma Hayek, because she's just fucking getting better with age, man.
Aged like a fine wine.
I'll drink that wine.
Well, everyone, we'll see you next week at the Film Club.
And thank you for having me, everyone. I appreciate it. Had a good time.
It was a blast.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye.